Hi, welcome to Savvy King Recaps. Today I will talk about the first episode of the anime titled Sword Art Online, Alicization. Two young boys, Eugeo and Kirito, give their best, alternating with an axe to fulfill their sacred duty, cut the Gigas Cedar, a giant tree that impedes the progress of their village. Their efforts, however, seem futile, similar to the ones from 6 generations ago. After a while, their childhood friend, a girl named Alice, arrives and brings them lunch. While they sit and eat, Alice greets Kirito, a boy whose appearance looks very familiar. The lunch was consumed quickly so as not to spoil it. It would be perfect if there were a good way to preserve food. At this moment, Kirito has a great idea. He wants to use his knowledge about cold salted meat to create a cold ecological pie. He would only need a bit of ice, which shouldn't be difficult to find in a feudal kingdom without the technology to cut even a tree. They then remember a story of a legendary hero who found an ice cave while chasing a dragon guardian of the border of the Dark Continent. As long as they don't cross the border, they can avoid violating the kingdom's rules that nobody talks about. Once they arrive at the cave, they discover a quantity of ice sufficient to last a lifetime at the village. However, something seems off. They find the blue rose sword, and beside it, the ice dragon's remains. The legend didn't mention the death of the dragon. After collecting as much ice as they can carry, they realize many different paths exist. They don't remember which one they came from and choose the wrong one, bringing them to the Dark Territory. They then hear the sound of battle and see a knight of integrity against a knight of the Dark Territory. They are both riding dragons. After the knight of integrity defeats the Dark Knight, he falls from the sky. He falls close to our heroes and extends his hand as if looking for help. For some reason, Alice feels she needs to help the Dark Knight, and before the two boys stop her, she starts walking in the knight's direction. She then ends up tripping and her fingers touch the border limits. Suddenly, a strange figure appears, confirming their fears. Alice violated the most serious of the kingdom's rules, which were considered taboo. The Knight of Integrity visits the village the next day, but this time the only thing he will defeat is a child. Kirito tries to create a distraction, but Eugeo freezes while a strange thing in his eye makes him stop. Sometime after, Kazuto wakes up from a full drive. He then meets up with Shino in a coffee shop, where she asks him to help her with a project before Asuna arrives. Worried about his physical condition, Asuna checks the app that shows Kazuto's vitals and concludes that the issues are caused by his new part-time job. Shino then asks what kind of job he is doing. Kazuto says he is working for a company called Red. This company is developing a new type of full-drive technology called Soul Translator. The new device uses something called flux light, which apparently resembles someone's soul. It encodes short-term memory to create a more realistic sensory experience. Due to the nature of the project, Kazuto doesn't remember anything about the virtual world known as Wonder World. While walking home with Asuna, Kazuto has the idea to travel to America to research full-drive technology, but only if she moves also. Her soul transfer project resembles Koeba's work, and Kazuto prefers to keep his distance from known ventures. At this moment, they are interrupted by a man asking for directions. Kazuto is sharp and notices that the man has followed them since leaving the shop. The man then reveals himself to be a member of the Laughing Coffin and runs in Kirito's direction with a syringe, the same one used by Deathgun and his victims. It is time for action. Kazuto pushes Asuna to a safe place and tries to defend himself from the aggressor. In the confusion, Kazuto is injected with a toxin while his umbrella pierces the aggressor's leg. However, it is too late and Kazuto falls to the ground, experiencing a heart attack. In the virtual world, Kirito wakes up in a forest without knowing how he got there. Looking at his body and clothes, he concludes he must have returned to Wonder World. He, however, doesn't have any memories from the real world. Sometime later, he finds Eugeo but can't remember him. He doesn't know if he's an NPC or a real player. Eugeo doesn't recognize any video game terms, so getting any useful information out of him is a waste of time. He then decides to wait until Eugeo finishes his sacred duty of the day. He discovers that for some reason, the game menu is still accessible. Eugeo talks about an incident with Alice, though Kirito wasn't there. After explaining his duty, Eugeo is surprised when Kirito offers to help. Besides his abilities and experience with swords, the tree stays as strong as ever. After a while, they return to the village but are stopped by a boy who guards the gate. The boy mocks Eugeo and implies that Kirito doesn't remember him because he has a lost son. However, he backs off when Kirito demonstrates his swordsmanship skills. He cuts a tree easily like it is nothing. Eugeo brings Kirito to the church, where they meet Selka. Kirito then deducts that the Red Company must have used the flux light in babies. With time approximation, generations of artificial reproduction would result in highly lifelike people, mainly because Eugeo mentions that it's been 6 years since Alice's disappearance, although it's been only 1 day in the real world. The next day, the two boys go to the Gigas tree. Kirito asks Eugeo about Selka, who says she is Alice's older sister. After Alice was taken, she adopted the church and learned the sacred arts, which were just system commands perceived as magic. While the axe proves ineffective, Kirito questions whether something more powerful is at his disposal. After that, Eugeo returns with a blue rose sword, a weapon that he found 3 years after Alice's incident. Kirito tries to use it at the tree but can't do much damage. Nonetheless, the sword is superior to the axe. If they could increase the sword level in the inventory, they might just be able to destroy the tree. That night, Kirito asks Selka about her sister's disappearance and finds out that Eugeo was never the same since the incident. Before leaving, Selka questions why Alice was taken since nobody told her the truth. The next day, Selka vanishes. Eugeo concludes that she must have gone to the cave where Alice broke the taboo. And with that, they both run to the place. After arriving, they hear screams coming from deep within the cave and discover that Selka was captured by goblins. Eugeo freezes, unable to react. As the goblins slowly approach the two, Kirito calms him down and tries to devise a plan to rescue Selka. Armed with swords, the two fight the goblins. While Kirito fights the goblins' leader, Eugeo still cannot act. Only when Kirito is about to lose, he intervenes, and they manage to defeat the goblins and free Selka. Selka is unsure if her sacred arts can save Eugeo, who is gravely hurt. Kirito then offers to give his own vital energy to save Eugeo, almost losing all of his stamina in the process. Kirito hears the voice of a girl asking to be saved, and he recognizes the voice from somewhere. After the battle, Kirito's skills are enough for him to be able to use the blue rose sword at full power. Eugeo, determined to save Alice, asks Kirito to train him. With time, their sword abilities are enough to destroy that big tree. After a long time of effort and sweat, Eugeo delivers the final blow and the tree finally falls. The city celebrates the event, and Eugeo, having finished his duty, promises to become a swordsman with Kirito and travel to the capital to save Alice. After saying goodbye to Selka, the two go on their journey. The two spent the next 2 years in Wonder World, improving their skills. They then enroll successfully at the Sword Master Academy, an essential step to becoming Knights of Integrity. After reaching the status, they can enter the Central Cathedral and have a chance to rescue Alice. And that concludes our recap of the first episode of the anime. If you haven't already then, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on all the latest anime recaps and reviews. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of anime greatness. Until the next video, stay tuned and keep exploring the extraordinary realm of anime with us.